What's up guys, Jason here with the Running Secrets channel. Today we're going to be talking about how to break 20 minutes in a 5K. We're going to be going over training paces, race strategy, workouts, and everything in between. But before we do all that, be sure to scroll down to the comments, type in your 5K PR, and how old you were when you accomplished that time. So let's keep the music and let's get this going. Alright, so let's talk about the 5K for a minute. So the 5K is one of the most popular races in the running world. So I've been running 5K since I was 12 years old. So when I was in high school was the first time that I broke 20 minutes in the 5K. I remember that race, it was cross country season, it was the first race of my sophomore year. We were getting ready to toe the line and I remember thinking, man, I am terrified. I was so nervous. And I remember the gun went off and my whole goal was just not to be last. So the gun went off and off we went from a wide start to a very narrow kind of bottleneck about the half-mile mark. And at that point, the trail went from being super wide to super narrow. And I remember thinking, man, if it stays like this, they're just gonna pull me along. And ended up finishing that race in 1928. It was the first time I'd ever broken 20 minutes in the 5K. So when I broke that time, I remember feeling so relieved. I was so grateful that I was able to finally do it, but it left me hungry and wanting more. Since then, I have run over 100 5Ks, all breaking 20 minutes. And today we're gonna talk about the secrets to doing that. So this is just the first part in a several part series on the Running Secrets channel where I'm going to talk about how to smash all the major time barriers in the 5K race. So if 20 minutes isn't your goal, be sure to hit the subscribe button because your race will be coming soon. All right, so let's talk about this. So to break 20, you need to average at least a 6:26 pace per mile or faster. So if you were to run perfectly even splits, here's what it would look like. So through mile 1, you'd be going through it at 6:26. Mile 2, you'd be going through in 12:52. And mile 3, you'd be going through in about 19:18. Now, ideally, and in my opinion, in all my experience, I would say go out harder the first mile than that 6:26. Not blazing fast, but I would shoot for about 6:10 to 6:15 for that first mile and maintain that the second mile and then just hang on the third mile. So target paces. So there's a few different paces that we're going to be talking about. So easy pace is going to be the pace that you're doing the majority of your running at during the week. Your easy pace should be at a conversation pace, meaning that if you're running and you can't carry a conversation or you're talking like this, that's too hard. So slow down. So ideally, no faster than 7:30 per mile. That's also very subjective, but as a kind of a baseline, your easy should be slower than that. So tempo pace. So tempo pace is the pace that you should be able to race for the pace that you should be able to race in for about 30 to 40 minutes of running. So goal pace is about 6:45 per mile. So if your race pace is 6:26, your tempo pace is about 19 seconds slower, around 6:45 or so. I'd even say the slow end of that tempo pace being right around 7 flat. And then the last kind of speed work or the last kind of pace work we're going to talk about are intervals. So intervals are a little bit faster than your race pace because they're intervals. They're not the actual race. So your goal pace for an interval should be between 6 flat to 6:15 per mile, which is a little bit faster than that 6:26 5K pace. So if you're doing 400s, you should be going through the 400 meter mark in about 125 to 130. And then the 800s, you should be going around in about 3 flat to 305. Now I know the 400s is a little bit faster than that goal of 6 to 6:15, but 400s are short and you can go fast for a short amount of time. So here's a few different kinds of workouts. So when I coach people and I talk about in the simplest way of how to do speed work, I give them 2 different categories. Category A, which is all about being fast, and category B, which is all about being strong. So category A is all about intervals. So here's some example of some workouts that you can do. So you can do 5 by 1 kilometer, shoot for about 3:55 to 4 flat through the 1K mark. Do that with about 2 minutes rest in between. Another workout you can do is 6 by 800 meters, target pace about 3:05 to 3:10, and do those with 90 seconds rest in between. Or another one, which is one of my favorites, is 400 meter repeats. So go do 8 by 400 meters with about target pace about 1:30 with about 90 seconds or less of rest in between. Now, there's always a question of, well, does that rest mean not doing anything, not running, just standing? Or does that mean, actively recovering? I have found that I feel stronger and I get better from workouts where I keep moving. So in all these intervals, I'll do a slow, active recovery in between the sets. And that kind of helps me keep moving. It helps me from getting stiff and so on. So category B is all about being strong. So category B is a little bit longer of intervals, but you're doing more at your tempo pace. So think of category B as your tempo workouts. So for example, my go-to for any 5K speed or any 5K training is a 20-minute tempo, meaning you do 20 minutes at that tempo pace of about 6:45 in this example to run a sub 20. So if you had a 20-minute tempo on your workout for the day, I would do a mile warm up and then go straight into the 20-minute tempo and then a 1 mile cool down. Another kind of alternate option to that is to do a 2 by 2 mile tempo with 3 minutes of jog in between. Again, do mile warm up, 2 miles, and do the other 2 miles and then 1 mile cool down. So if I were to build a plan for someone and I was going to create kind of a weekly layout, this is what it would look like. So to run a 5K in sub 20, you need to do at least 4 to 5 days of running. And here's how that here's the makeup of that week. So obviously you need a longer run. I recommend doing it on the weekends, Saturdays or Sundays. And if you're just starting out, focus on building up to 7 or 8 miles. If you're just kind of plugging along, 7 or 8 miles is a pretty good long run if you're focusing on just a 5K. If you want to do something longer than a 5K, it's probably good to bump up the mileage a little bit. Now, I know this isn't for everyone, but if you're the kind of person who's really striving to break 20 minutes, this is kind of where you need to be as far as the long run goes. So in addition to that long run, shoot for 2 easy days. Easy meaning you're going at a conversation pace. It's all about just being on your legs, getting some time running. Shoot for 30-ish minutes of running. So if you're averaging about 8 minutes per mile, you're going between 3 and 4 miles, close to 4 miles for that. And that's a pretty good easy run. And then lastly, you want to do 1 to 2 workouts a week. I would recommend choosing one from category A and one from category B. The A was the fast work, so like a speed work or interval sort of thing. And category B was a tempo or strength kind of workout. And then, of course, after at least 3 of your runs during the week, add striders. So striders aren't like sprints. They're not running as hard as you can for a short amount of distance. Striders are all about focusing on form, feeling fast, feeling smooth. I usually do my striders at the end of my run once I've done all the other miles, just as a good way to get things, get the legs moving and keep things rolling. And there it is, guys. That is how you break 20 minutes in a 5K. Now, if you're running like 30-minute 5Ks right now, obviously it's going to take a little bit longer to get to a sub 20. If you're hovering right at that 20 flat mark, maybe even 21, 22 minutes, these are the perfect examples of workouts that you can do. So again, be patient. If you were to do this over the course of 6 to 12 weeks, you're going to have some major gains in your running. And I'd venture to say you get pretty close to PR. So let me know in the comments what 5K time barrier you want me to do next. See you in the next video.